prepared yet.
You need to try and pick off the units as.
Look at the shields on the Martin.
Oh my god, the drone's gonna take this.
What's up, guys? We are back. This is Pain User.
And this is Cat's Pajamas.
And we got game 2 for you guys between Evil Geniuses IdrA and Complexity's Drewbie. Drewbie up 1-0. The map is going to be Shakura's Plateau, and in the top right-hand corner, as our blue Terran, we have Drewbie. Bottom left-hand corner, as our green Zerg, we have the quote-unquote bad boy of StarCraft 2, IdrA.
Yes, EG's IdrA. And as you said, the bad boy. But you know what? Every sport, and I'm sure I can already see the haters going, video game is not a sport. Every competition needs those personalities, needs that to really drive the drama forward. That's what really helps. So I have no problems with the approach that IdrA takes to the game with his public stance, and I'm curious to see what he does to come back, because he's certainly got his work cut out for him now. He's one game away from dropping into the losers bracket. Drewbie's got to be feeling pretty confident right now.
Well, also, just to put things into perspective a little bit, bad boys from other sports get arrested, they have drugs on them, they're cheating on their wives with 10 other women. The bad boy of StarCraft 2 doesn't GG.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. Like, we've yet to find the real bad boy of SC2.
I don't, dude, we're just computer nerds. Come on.
I know,
we're like,
right?
we're never, like, our bad boy is going to be the one who, like, I don't know, steals computer parts or something like that. I mean, that's going to be the height of StarCraft bad boyism.
I just find it funny.
So IdrA goes ahead, drops down a hatchery.
First, actually.
Yep, 15 hatchery here on Shakura's. It looks like Drewbie is opening, let's see, racks and gas, so nothing too telling yet.
Not going to go with that one gas, or gasless FE that we saw from him in the previous game.
And let's see here. So IdrA's going to drop down his spawning pool as well. And, lifting off, we're going to have an add-on. And that's going to be a tech lab, so probably a Reaper opening coming out now for Drewbie.
You know, I was never the biggest fan of Reaper openings against Zerg, especially on a map like this. I mean, there is vital information that you need to obtain from Zerg players at certain points in the game, but I feel like in the early game, you're really just limiting yourself to the possibility of finding 2 queens as opposed to 1 queen, or 6 lings as opposed to 4 lings. And you can learn things about it. I mean, if they do overcommit to lings and you see, 6 to 8 lings running at your base at the very beginning of the game, it's like, okay, hey, maybe he's baneling busting me, maybe he's getting very early speed, but both of those things are so easily counterable anyway. I don't feel like the Reaper is really necessary unless you manage to get, maybe 2-3 drone kills out of the Reaper. And it looks like that drone is going to be able to sneak in and block the eventual building place of the factory.
Oh, no.
Forcing that Reaper to turn back, and he will also scout the natural expansion. Wow.
Oh, wow. So he knows that the barracks lifted off, which means he knows another structure is coming down, and so he knows exactly what's going to happen. Here we go. Tech Lab Factory coming down at this stage in the game. We're probably looking at Blue Flame Hellions, and IdrA, I mean, that was as good of a scout as he could have prayed for.
Yeah, that drone, took a couple shots to the back. A couple of those Reaper explosions to the back, kept on moving, kept on crawling, found his way to the natural command center, relayed the information back to the Overmind, or should I say Kerrigan rather.
Yes.
The Overmind is no longer in existence.
As this Reaper doesn't really do anything, and IdrA shouts, "Where is your god now?" The Reaper backs his way back out. He's not really going to be able to do anything. That's the extent of his scouting information, and he has to run away.
If only the Reaper could skate on the creep, much like the Zerg unit. Sadly, I think creep just eats Terran units.
It does.
Any kind of humanoid unit is not able to use the creep conduit system.
I'm imagining Hydralisks with skates now. Thank you. I appreciate it. So here we go.
Oh, we got a lot of Zerglings coming out of IdrA here. That's quite a few for this stage in the game. I think he might be worried about some kind of early pressure here. He could perhaps be going for some kind of an eco baneling bust. It looks like he's going to head up and around, trying to avoid the Zelnaga, it looks like, or perhaps kill those destructible rocks. and it looks like he will miss this Reaper with the majority of the Lings, so the Lings are going to pretty much be able to get into the natural undetected, and he doesn't have a lot to defend this. Drewbie is in a bit of trouble here. All of his units getting surrounded, and oh no!
This is not going to be good. And oh, the Zerglings get into the main as well. They prevent the supply depot from going up. Put up the supply depot. No, he doesn't. More Zerglings are making their way in, and more SCVs are going to die. This is very bad for Drewbie now. Even a Hellion goes down in addition. Let's take a look at the units tab. Just 13 workers remaining to the now 43 of IdrA.
Sir, they've broken through the wall. They were just running rampant throughout Drewbie's base, killing SCVs left and right. I mean, we had brothers in arms falling all over the place inside of Drewbie's base, and now it is in tatters. He has, how many SCVs do we have remaining?
He has 15.
15 SCVs to IdrA's 42 drones. And if you look at a player like IdrA, who will leave the game after a 5 to 10 drone deficit, I mean, come on.
He has 1/3 of the workers.
That's 1/3 of the workers.
That's rough. And that was really smart out of IdrA, too, because IdrA... Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. IdrA got in with the scout, right? So he saw the barracks lifting off and knew that there was going to be another structure going down.
Oh, yeah.
So he attacked just before he knew that upgrade was going to finish. And he made it in there. Perfect time, did the maximum amount of damage. Very intelligent play out of IdrA.
The thing that I found so interesting was that IdrA was willing to commit that many Zerglings to almost a pseudo all-in. You know, he never committed 100%. He didn't bring the additional Banelings. He didn't bring additional Zerglings. After that, I think he might have had one reinforcement wave, but really, he was just counting on doing quite a bit of damage with a small group of Zerglings, and he was able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yes, he did do quite a bit of damage. I mean, that's absurd because Drewbie is fighting so far behind now. He's putting down another command center right now. I don't know if he intends to lift that over to the 12 o'clock or if he's just going to abuse that for mules on his main for a little while and try and catch up in economy somewhat. But he's been reduced to not really teching and just producing a lot of cheap units. Otherwise, there's going to be a flood coming at him out of IdrA pretty soon.
Yes, indeedy. And we do have both those spine crawlers making their way down the ramp now. It looks like IdrA is going to slowly start to progress across the map, and he is really going into that macro mode right now. I would imagine he wants to take his third very soon here. Going to see a drone headed up there any minute now. He does have a macro hatch also building at the main, and there's the drone headed to the third. So IdrA taking 2 additional hatches here, producing just the amount of units needed in order to stay alive here. We do have some Blue Flame Hellions scouting at the front here, just poking and feeling their way around, looking for possible openings. They might be able to find their way into the third here, but this could be dangerous for Drewbie because these Hellions really don't have an avenue of escape.
Nope, not at all, and we have our first few Hydralisks coming up as well. I'm sorry, Mutalisks coming up as well, so IdrA playing very smart. He's just going to wait till those Mutas are there. He's not going to sacrifice any more Lings, and he'll move up with these Mutas here in just a second. Unfortunately, Drewbie not going to be able to escape the clutches of those. One Hellion goes down, and look at that! He's catching them in a little trap with his Zerglings. All the rest of the Hellions go down. That threat is over.
Yep, that threat is most definitely dealt with. Drewbie now desperately trying to expand to that bottom middle pocket expo, which is perhaps the safest expo for him right now. But we do have IdrA starting to build on that initial flock of Mutalisks, and this is what he does so well. He can just pick players apart with these Mutalisks, find holes in the base, chinks in the armor. He will continue to poke and prod until he can find a way in there and start camping out those production facilities and really prevent Drewbie. Oh, and he's able to pick off a small group of Marines here, and every little bit helps. And as IdrA continues to do this, he's pulling so far ahead because Drewbie's Marine count right now is through the floor.
Yeah, and Drewbie as well. He didn't have combat shields done, and many of those Marines were on 2 stims, so they were already down to 25 HP before IdrA ever started attacking them. That's why they were able to go down so quickly. So IdrA doing significant damage there. He's containing Drewbie to this base. This is not looking good for Drewbie. It looks like he's trying to invest in Thors, pretty much because he has to, otherwise Mutas are going to pick him apart. But the more he's kind of caught in between a rock and a hard place right now, because if he invests in those, he's not going to have the amount of Marines to commit or to be able to hold off any sort of wave of aggression. But if he goes all Marines, he's just going to get torn up by a Baneling force.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, The thing about the Thors that's absolutely necessary, though, that I don't really think hurts him in any way, is he has to have something to zone out the Mutalisks. He has to have something to prevent them from controlling the airspace around and in his main. And once he gets, 2 to 3 Thors, then he can start focusing on the siege tanks to deal with the Banelings, and then ultimately focus on Marine production to just for overall sustainability. Marines are just a great unit in general against everything that Zerg has. They're so effective against Lings, Mutas, even Banelings. I mean, they can trade cost efficiently, assuming you micro properly, and it looks like IdrA is going to try and find a window of opportunity through the front here. He's got to be careful. There is a Thor, and he does get off one volley directly into that pack of Mutalisks. But we do have a counterattack coming through the back here from IdrA.
And here comes IdrA now. Drewbie, he does not have any of these units spread apart. The Banelings are going to roll in, doing quite a bit of damage. Drewbie, GG's. Oh, and the replay stops right before the Banelings make to the SEV line. So
if you guys could see Katz's anticipation in his facial expression over here, and he coming in, and he GG's.
I'm looking at these. How many do we have? 29 SCVs that were about to be rocked.
It's always a beautiful thing when you see an entire mineral line explode into Baneling goo. But, I mean, let's talk about that game in a little bit.
Yeah.
What happened there? What happened?
Well, let's see. Drewbie got off to a bad start because IdrA had that ridiculously brilliant timing. He got the perfect scout. He knew that there was going to be a factory put down. He moves his Zerglings in to do maximum damage right away, and then Drewbie was just working at he had 33% of the workers of his opponent, and from there was just playing behind the entire time.
Yeah, and IdrA, running away with it from a macro perspective, able to take that early third, able to fortify the middle of the map with a few spine crawlers, also had his creep spread between all of his bases. Finally took that fourth at the end there, but was just able to utilize his Mutalisks so well, picking off small groups of Marines, keeping Drewbie on his back foot, keeping him all pinned up in the main, never even gave him an opportunity to lift that third orbital and head over and take a possible third. And then also clearing out the back rocks across the northern end of the map, which allowed him to do that counterattack straight into the main and just end the game right there. So very well played by IdrA, picking Drewbie apart a little bit, and he will take game 2.
There we are. So it's all tied up. We're going to head into the rubber match, the third game of this best of 3. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back in just a second.